Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we are very fortunate to have His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji with us, and he doesn't need any introduction, right? We have already him here in this our community twice, and this is the third time he is coming here. But nevertheless, a very short introduction for my self-satisfaction, not for Prabhuji. My satisfaction is like to always introduce great Vaishnavas to our community so that we can prosper more and more into our bhakti. So Prabhuji was also asking me about our community, how it is, how old it is. So I told him, Prabhuji, we are just 3 years old. But then Prabhuji is asking, just 3 years old? You are telling it's young? No, it's 3 years means it's already quite old, right? So anyway, to motivate ourselves, Prabhuji is a very renowned speaker. He is a monk, and he is very famously called in ISKCON as a spiritual scientist. Right? So spiritual scientist itself, we can understand. We all think 2 dimensions. We know X and Y, right? But Prabhuji's analysis is multi-dimensional. We cannot imagine that, in which dimension Prabhuji can think and what depth he can really think. So we always have enjoyed his lectures. He has authored more than 30 books. Some of the famous books are, Demystifying Reincarnation and also Science and Spirituality. So these are very famous books. Last time when Prabhuji has come, he has introduced this Gita for CEO. I have brought book for myself and I have gifted that book also to my global CTO. He is very happy. And today Prabhuji has also come with some more books. So, we will introduce about the book. Prabhuji himself will introduce about the book after the session. So once again, we were all playing treasure hunt in our childhood, right? Like we always look for treasure. Now, the biggest wisdom is in front of us. It's up to us how much we can really grab. And let's hear the nectar of words from Prabhuji's mouth. So let's welcome him with loud and enthusiastic Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. So please, I request everyone to put your mobiles in silent mode. At least next 1.5 hours to 2 hours without any disturbance. Hare Krishna.
ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
My dear Lord, please guide us all so that we can, by your mercy, overcome challenges, the journey of life, and come closer to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for coming today. We'll discuss based on this 10th verse of the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So I'll tell the meaning and then we'll recite the words. Vita means to become free from. Rag, Bhaya, Krodha. So Krishna is saying become free from these three things: attachment, fear and anger. And then, so let's recite one line. Vita, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha. Manmaya. Fix the mind on me, and don't just fix the mind on me. Mam upashritaha. Take shelter of me. Manmaya mam upashritaha. And Krishna is saying, this is the path which many have taken in the past. Bahavo, in the past, by this jnana tapasa. The tapasa is austerity. This way, through austerity, that cultivates knowledge. Jnana tapasa. Bahavo jnana tapasa. Puta, they became purified. And mad bhavamagataha, they attained me. Puta mad bhavamagataha. So, once more. Vitaraga bhaya krodha. Manmaya mamupashritaha. Bahavo jnana tapasa. Puta madbhavamagataha. Let's recite it together 3 times, not responsibly but together now.
Vitaragamaya krodha, manmaya mamupashrita, bahavo jnana tapasa, puta madbhavamagataha. Vitaragamaya krodha, manmaya mamupashrita, bahavo jnana tapasa, puta madbhavamagataha. Vitaraga bhaya krodha, manmaya mamupashritaha, bahavo jnana tapasa, puta madbhavamagataha.
Thank you. So, in this particular verse, Krishna is talking about 3 obstacles which one needs to become free from. So let's try to understand the verse and then we'll go into the verse. So, this particular context, we are in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. In the 4th chapter, from text 5 to 14, Krishna is broadly talking about the concept of avatar. Avatar and basically the divine arrangement for the material world. The world we live in, what is the arrangement for that? So the previous verse he said that Sambhavami yuge yuge yada yada hi dharma, says 4, 7 and 8. And then he says, those who understand me, janma karma cha me divyam, those who understand my divine nature, in truth they will come to me. And for coming to him, he is now talking about some obstacles. So broadly, the end is that the last line, if you consider this as 4 lines. So puta madbhavamagataha. So puta is they become purified. So this is the destination. Purified and madbhavam. The word bhavam, they can attain emotion for me. So my emotion. That means emotion relationship with me. Or it can refer to my nature. Bhava also means nature. So that means they can attain love for me or they will attain my spiritual nature, my abode. So this is the destination Krishna is saying. Now what is required for that? Manmaya mamupashritaha. So fix mind on me. And fix mind on me, but he's also saying something more. And take shelter of me. See, we can at different times fix mind on many different things. So, if we are driving through a crowded road, then we have to fix our mind on the road. Where do I go? How do I go? If we have to learn a new language, say for computer programming, or we have to pass an exam, we study. But it is not that when we got a new gadget, we got a new phone or a new machine, we are reading its manual. We are focusing on it, we are fixing the mind on it, but we are not taking shelter of it. Isn't it? So Krishna is saying, fix your mind on me and take shelter of me. And the third line is saying, many have done this. Many in the past have done it. So you're not the first person, this is a time-tested path. But to do this, what do you have to do? You have to fight off against three things. What are three things? Vita, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha. So fear, if you put it as that, fear, anger and desire, we can say. So, have you heard the word fad? What does fad mean? Sorry? No, that's an acronym now, I made it. But what does the word fad literally mean? Have you heard the word fad? Like fashions and fads. So fads are like passing trends, people like these things. So there are many fads in the world which go on. So often, what is a fad makes people mad. Isn't it? I want to buy this, I want to eat this, I want to watch this. So these are what creates strongly, the fad is said to be just temporary. It comes and it goes. So our fear, anger and desire, these are what often frustrate us. So let's try to understand how this happens. So how are these three things affecting us? If we consider life to be a journey, we are at a particular point in our journey. There's life behind us, there's life ahead of us. So now, each phase of life can be approached positively or negatively. So broadly, we are right now here in the present. Then there is the future ahead of us. And there is the past behind us. So quite often, what happens is, as I said, each of these three phases of time, we can approach it positively or negatively. So with respect to the past, the negative way of approaching it is anger. You know, this person did like this to me, in my childhood they treated me like that, or this happened to me. So we can look at the past with anger. We can look at the future with fear. This may go wrong, that may go wrong. What if this happens? What if that happens? And at the present, we feel, why is my present like this? You know, maybe I could be in a different place. Maybe I could be fitter, I could be wealthier. We desire something other than what is there in the present. And in this way, what happens is we stay dissatisfied. So these are emotions which divert us from living fully or even living meaningfully. So fear about the future, anger about the past, and desire in the present. Now, when these three things happen, the problem with each of these is that if we consider there is anger about the past. Now, all of us, if we look at our past, we can think of things that have happened unfairly for us. People treated us badly. But to a large extent, the past is unchangeable. You can say, of course, the past is 100% unchangeable. We can't change it. But when I say a large extent, what I mean is the effect of the past on us can be changed. So anger is often about that which is unchangeable. That which has already happened, we cannot change it now. Now, the present is what it is right now. So, quite often in the present, we are desiring that which is unattainable. It's not that it is not attainable in the future, but right now, this is where I am. And when I'm desiring something other than where I am and what I am and how I am, then that is not attainable in the present. So desire what is unattainable, and then fear is often associated with what is unpredictable. We don't know what is going to come in the future. And in that way, when we have fear, some Mark Twain is a American thinker, so he said, I have suffered from many anxieties in my life, most of which happened in my imagination. That means what? This will go wrong, that will go wrong, what if this happens, what if that happens, what if that happens? So we worry about so many things, many of which just don't happen. Some of them happen also, and that we have to deal with them. But the future is unpredictable. So fear, desire and anger, these can be, now sometimes they put as, Prabhupada puts as craving or hankering and lamenting. So anger, often we think of it as very aggressive. We yell at someone, we hit out at someone. But the anger can go both ways. See, anger, when it goes outward, it is aggression. Anger, when it goes inward, it is depression. So depression means the person doesn't feel like doing anything at all. So when we feel angry with ourselves, maybe I'm good for nothing. I'll never be able to do anything right. Why try anything? Nothing at all works at all. So that kind of lamentation, it just, we end up beating ourselves down. So Krishna is saying, Vita, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha. That these three emotional orientations we need to be free from. And to the extent we are free from these, then Manmaya Mamupashritaha. We can actually fix the mind on Krishna, we can take shelter of Krishna. Now it's another way of looking at it is also that the more we fix our mind on Krishna and take shelter of Krishna, we'll become free from these. So it works both ways. Now where do we start? We'll look at that. So to understand this, let's consider the example of Dhritarashtra. Now, Dhritarashtra was a person to whom also the Gita was spoken indirectly. Krishna spoke it to Sanjay. Is that right? Now Krishna spoke it to Arjuna. And Sanjay spoke it to Dhritarashtra. Yes. So it is a meta conversation going on. If you consider the Gita, it is spoken by Krishna to Arjuna. Then that is a part of a larger narration of the entire war that is done by Sanjay to Dhritarashtra. And that whole thing is a part of a much, much larger narration that is done by Vaishampayan. Vaishampayan is a sage who is speaking to Janmejaya. Janmejaya is the son of Parikshit Maharaj. So the whole Mahabharata is basically spoken. It is a meta conversation. There are multiple layers of conversations over there. So the Gita is a part of the war report. And there, when Sanjay is speaking to Dhritarashtra, so Dhritarashtra also hears the Gita. So here when Krishna is saying, Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha, if we look at our life, as I said, with respect to the past, for all of us, there are certain things which have gone wrong. And the things that have gone wrong, we just need to live with them. We can't change them actually, no matter what we try. So for example, if we consider Dhritarashtra, let's consider his life and see. If we consider the life of Dhritarashtra. So there was suppressed anger about the past. There's one incident in his life which shaped the entire trajectory of his life. What was that?
Blindness.
Yeah, he couldn't become a king because he was born blind. Now, for all of us, when we go through life, we face certain situations which suddenly change the direction of our life. So it's like we often think of our life as linear, and sometimes we may take a turn. I want to go in this direction. But sometimes what happens is beyond our force itself, beyond our control itself, this is a voluntary turn sometimes we take, but sometimes there is an involuntary turn. So now when we study characters from the scriptures, at one level, when we study those characters, it is the story, the plot twists, we look at them. But generally, there are certain characters we identify with. So for example, when movies are made, some movies are very successful. So what happens? They become blockbusters. Now, some movies don't do well, they flop. Nowadays, there's a new word that has come in the last 4 or 5 years. It's called a flopbuster. That means that it is you spend $100 million making a movie and it barely makes you $1 million. A complete flop. So now, why do movies flop? What do you think?
No match with reality.
Because the illusion is not good enough. Isn't it? When people go to watch a movie, that the illusion has to be engrossing. It has to, the illusion has to seem real. Isn't it? That if the dialogues are very flat, real people don't talk like this, or the plot twists are too unrealistic, or the characters are unlikable, then we just don't like to watch the movie. So the idea is that we relate with some characters naturally, and in some characters we will not relate with much. So generally in the scriptures, we may relate with the heroic characters. In the Ramayana, we may relate with Ram, we may relate with Sita, we may relate with Hanuman. And now that is good, but it is sometimes helpful to also try to identify with the not so noble characters in the epics, because to the extent we understand their psychology, we understand their psychology, what they were thinking, how they were acting, then we can see that, sometimes we may say, I would like to be the hero, I would like the hero, but the villains, they are all bad guys. But the way they think and why they think and what they do, it is quite possible that those kind of tendencies may be present within us also. And we need to be able to deal with them. So, for me, since when I started reading the Mahabharata, one of the characters, many of the characters are fascinating, and each character, I did a whole series of, on YouTube I have a talk called Fascinating Mahabharata Characters. So 75 talks I have done on each of the characters. So now, among the various characters, at one level, I've thought a lot about this character of Dhritarashtra. And one reason for that is Dhritarashtra was blind. He had a physical limitation. I am lame, I have polio, I had a physical limitation. So now, if we consider objectively speaking, in many ways, sometimes we have a tendency to romanticize the past. Oh, in the past things were so wonderful. And now dark Kali Yuga has come, this is bad, that is bad. And there is definitely some truth to it. But in the world, there is no pure blessing or no pure curse. So one thing is that in today's world, there is much greater facility for, say, people with physical limitations. So we have ramps, we have wheelchair assistance, we have support. In the past, maybe a few hundred years ago, life was much tougher. And without the physical facilities, it becomes very difficult. So nowadays, we have braille language where people can read books, blind people can read books, blind people can go for work, there are various kinds of technologies available. So now, it is, if you consider Dhritarashtra's situation. So he was born blind. Now being born blind is a problem in any situation. It's how much we rely on our eyes. We often don't realize unless maybe we get some kind of conjunctivitis or something like that and we can't see properly, our eyes start paining. Then how much we rely on our eyes. But the thing is, and everybody relies on their eyes and everybody needs their eyes. For a warrior, it's even more important. Hmm? A warrior is meant to fight a war. And there are certain skills which can be done, certain activities, and they could be done without anything. Now, Dhritarashtra, in one sense, the tragedy was that he was actually physically quite well built. Hmm? So, he could have become a very powerful warrior. And it was his own genes that, his powerful, physically powerful genes that were passed down to the Duryodhana. And Duryodhana was also physically very powerful. So what happened for him, that one thing, that I'm blind, that just ruined everything for him. He was born in a royal family, he was born with a formidable physical physique, and yet it was as if at that time the question of he becoming a king would not rise only. And in some ways, life is unfair. And we cannot change that. Now we can say that, okay, life is, ultimately it's our own karma and because of that happens. That's true. But from our perspective, life is unfair. And the way, when this, each of us, so for the Dhritarashtra, that singular fact that changed his entire life, that he would just never become the king. That was terrible. See, he was not only born in the royal family, he was not only born with a formidable physical physique, he was also born as the first son. So that means everything was right, but this one sad thing which went wrong just ruined everything for him. Did it ruin everything? Well, it ruined the one main thing which he felt he would have been entitled to. So, now this sets up the way he processes life. Generally, when we have desires, so the anger that was there for why did life treat me like this? That was always there. So generally in our life, when we are going through life, there are things that can be changed. And there are things that cannot be changed. Now, one big confusion is often which falls in which category, isn't it? That quite often, if I am short-tempered,